Hey guys, tonight we step back to the late 1960s into the life of Johnny Cash, a man standing somewhere between legend and ruin, waking up most mornings unsure which one he still belongs to. You'll see what it meant to carry fame like a sickness, to drag a guitar, a bottle, and a name that no longer fit through motel rooms, courtrooms, and concert halls that all blurred into the same day. So, let's begin. You wake up on a motel floor somewhere in Tennessee. Or maybe it's Texas. The carpet smells like cigarettes and something that died 3 weeks ago. Your shirt's plastered to your chest, soaked through with sweat that's gone cold. The TV is on, has been on all night, playing static or applause. You can't tell which anymore. Both sound the same at 6 a.m. when you haven't really slept. Your throat feels like you swallowed broken glass. Could have been screaming, could have been singing. There's not much difference these days. You run your tongue over your teeth and taste copper and whiskey, and something chemical you don't want to think about. Your head isn't pounding. That would suggest your heart's working properly. Instead, there's this hollow ringing, like someone replaced your skull with a church bell and forgot to tell you. You check your pockets out of habit, not hope. Left front, a prescription bottle with someone else's name on it, half empty. Right front, a Zippo that's running out of fluid and a photograph of June that's been folded and unfolded so many times, her face is starting to wear away at the creases. Back pocket, nothing. Your wallet's gone again. You either spent it, lost it, or gave it to someone who needed it more than you. Or someone who didn't need it at all but took it anyway. Your hands shake as you light a cigarette. Takes 3 tries. The flame keeps dancing away from the tip like it knows what you've been doing to yourself and wants no part of it. When it finally catches, you inhale deep enough to feel it in your chest, and your heart does this thing, this skip-pause flutter thing, that should probably worry you more than it does. But worry requires energy, and energy requires food, and food requires getting up, and getting up requires remembering why you're supposed to. The phone on the nightstand is ringing. Has been ringing. Could have been ringing for hours. You watch it like it's a small animal that might bite. It stops. 30 seconds of silence. Then starts again. You let it ring out. If it's important, they'll call back. If it's not important, they'll call back anyway. That's the thing about being you. People don't give up easy. They think if they just catch you at the right moment, you'll be the man they remember. The man from the records. The man who doesn't exist before noon. You need to find your boots. This is somehow the most pressing concern in a life that's actively trying to kill you. You scan the room. Unmade bed you never actually got into. Chair with your jacket thrown over it. Bathroom door hanging open showing a mirror you're avoiding on purpose. And there, under the radiator, 1 boot. Just 1. The other is gone, probably in the same place as your wallet and the memory of last night. You sit up. This takes longer than it should. Your body doesn't move like a body anymore. It moves like a collection of parts that are only loosely associated, like they're taking a vote on every action, and the results aren't unanimous. Your left knee clicks. Your right shoulder feels like it belongs to someone else, someone older, someone who should know better. There's a note on the nightstand under an empty bottle. You pick it up with fingers that feel too thick, too clumsy. The handwriting is June's. Neat, careful. The kind of handwriting they taught in schools before the world got lazy. It says, "Don't die today." Not "I love you" or "call me" or even "where are you?" Just that. Don't die today. Like it's a chore she's reminding you about. Take out the trash. Pick up milk. Stay alive. You whisper your name out loud. John. John R. Cash. Johnny. The man in black. None of them sound right. They're names that belong to someone else. Someone who answers phones and shows up on time and remembers what city he's in. You say it again, quieter, like you're testing whether it still fits. It doesn't. Hasn't fit in years. But you wear it anyway, because what else are you going to do? The cigarette's burned down to the filter. You light another one from the ember of the first. This is efficiency. This is not having to waste another match. Your burnt finger, the one that's been burnt so many times it doesn't quite feel temperature right anymore, doesn't even register the heat. You've built up a tolerance to a lot of things. Fire is just one of them. Outside, a car backfires and you flinch hard enough to drop the cigarette on your lap. It leaves a small burn mark on your jeans that'll match the other dozens scattered across the denim like a constellation. You brush it onto the carpet where it joins its brothers. The motel's probably going to charge you for the damage. They always do. Your manager always pays it. This is the routine. This is Tuesday. Or Wednesday. Definitely a day. Your mouth tastes like death, but death would probably be cleaner. You need water. You need coffee. You need something that isn't pills or whiskey. But those are the only two things that sound appealing. Your body is screaming for both. Not the metaphorical scream of withdrawal, though that's there too, but the actual physical sensation of every cell in your body realizing it's been lied to again, and filing a formal complaint. You find your other boot. It's in the bathtub. You don't ask why. There's a dead pigeon in the bathroom corner. You definitely don't ask why. Some questions don't have answers that make things better. You pick up the boot, and there's something inside it. You shake it out. 3 pills fall onto the cracked linoleum. You stare at them for a long moment. They stare back. They're the only things in this room that know exactly what they are and what they're for. Your reflection catches you off guard in the bathroom mirror. You've been avoiding it, but now you're stuck with it. The face looking back isn't yours. It's older, meaner, the kind of face that belongs in a wanted poster or a last photograph. Your eyes are red, but not from crying. You stopped crying in 1962 when you realised it didn't change anything. Your hair's going in 6 directions. There's a bruise on your jaw you don't remember earning. This is what 36 looks like when you've been living like you're trying to speedrun to 50. You splash water on your face. It doesn't help. You brush your teeth with someone else's toothbrush, or maybe it's yours, you can't remember. And the mint taste wars with the cigarette taste and they both lose. You're already late. For what? You're not sure. Sound check, interview, court date, breakfast, all of the above. Being late is your natural state. Being on time would be suspicious. People would think you were sick or sober. Same thing, really. The morning light coming through the torn curtain is violent, offensive, the kind of bright that feels personal. You pull on your jacket, black, always black, because it hides the stains and the shame in equal measure, and you step toward the door. Your hand's on the knob when you remember. Keys, phone, wallet. The holy trinity of modern man. You have none of them. This is fine. This is workable. Someone will drive you. Someone always drives you. That's what handlers are for. You open the door and the world hits you like a fist made of sunlight. You squint. You breathe. Your lungs protest. Your heart does that skippy thing again. You're still here. Unfortunately. Somehow. Against all odds and medical advice and the explicit wishes of your liver. You're still here. You light another cigarette and start walking toward whatever comes next. There's no coffee. There's never coffee. Coffee requires planning, requires the kind of person who thinks ahead to tomorrow morning, and you stopped being that person around the same time you stopped sleeping through the night. Instead, there's half a bottle of Jack Daniels on the dresser with an inch of backwash floating at the bottom, and there's a pill bottle that rattles when you shake it. Not much of a rattle. Not enough. Never enough. You dry swallow 4 pills, they stick in your throat halfway down and you have to chase them with the whiskey, which tastes like it's been mixed with ashtray water and regret. Your body accepts this breakfast the way a car accepts the wrong kind of fuel. Badly, but it'll run anyway, for now, until it doesn't. Your stomach clenches, releases, clenches again. This isn't withdrawal. This is Tuesday. This is the routine. This is how you convince your heart to keep beating for another few hours. The pills are dexedrine, or maybe benzedrine. Something that ends in drine and promises you can be the person everyone expects for at least 6 hours. The bottle says, take 1 daily. You've never been good at following directions. 1 makes you functional, 2 makes you sharp, 4 makes you immortal, or it makes you think you're immortal, which is close enough when you've got a show tonight and your hands won't stop shaking. There's a Gideon Bible on the nightstand. Every motel has one. You pick it up out of habit, or maybe muscle memory from childhood, when you actually believed the words inside had power. You open it at random. Proverbs. Something about the righteous and the wicked and paths and destruction. You close it. Not today. You don't need a lecture from a book that's never had to sing for its supper or sweat through a black suit under stage lights that feel like the sun got bored and decided to come down and watch. You open the mini-fridge instead. It's got 2 bottles of beer, a wilted sandwich in plastic wrap and a note. The note is folded in half, written on hotel stationery in June's handwriting. You know it's from her before you even open it because no one else would bother. No one else still thinks you're worth the effort. It says, "Don't die today." Same as the other note. Or maybe it's the same note. Maybe you're living the same day over and over and just haven't noticed yet. You count the pills left in the bottle. 12. That's enough for 2 days if you're careful. You're never careful. You shake out 4 more and hold them in your palm like dice. This is the bet. Take them now, and you'll make it through sound check without falling apart. Don't take them, and you might actually remember where you are. You take them. You always take them. The house always wins because you are the house, and you're betting against yourself. There's a mirror above the dresser, and you avoid it the same way you avoid phone calls and eye contact and questions about your health. You know what you look like. You don't need the confirmation. Instead, you practice your stage smile in the dark glass of the TV screen. It doesn't fit your face anymore. Smiling requires muscles you haven't used in weeks. It requires meaning it, even a little bit, and you haven't meant anything in so long you've forgotten what sincerity feels like. The smile you manage looks like something a corpse would wear at its own funeral, like you're apologising for still being here. You try again. This time it looks like you're threatening someone. 3rd time's the charm. You find something in the middle that could pass for showmanship under the right lights with the right amount of distance. Close enough. They're not paying to see you smile anyway. They're paying to watch you burn. You're late for sound check. You're always late for sound check. This is your signature move. Showing up 30 minutes after everyone else has finished setting up, after the bassist has already told 3 jokes about you, after the drummer has started taking side bets on whether you'll show up at all. They'll wait. They always wait. That's what being the name on the poster buys you, the privilege of making everyone else's time worth less than yours. You tell yourself you're going to quit. You say it out loud to the empty room. After tonight, after this tour, after the next album, after... After is a beautiful word. It means not now. It means you can keep going just a little bit longer and deal with the consequences when they arrive. Except they've already arrived. They've been here for months. You're just really good at pretending you don't see them. Your hands are steadier now. The pills are kicking in. Your heart's picking up speed. Not the irregular flutter from before, but a solid, mechanical rhythm. You feel sharp. You feel focused. You feel like you could walk through walls or write a symphony or drive to California without stopping. This feeling will last approximately 4 hours, and then you'll pay for it with interest, but that's a future you problem. Future you is an idiot anyway. Present you has work to do. You open the Bible again. You're not sure why. Maybe because June would want you to. Maybe because your mother's voice is still in your head after all these years, telling you that prayer is the only medicine that actually works. You flip to the Psalms, the depressing ones, the ones where David is complaining to God about his enemies and his fears and how everything is terrible. You relate to David. David was a mess. David killed a guy and stole his wife and still got to be king. There's hope in that, maybe. Or just evidence that God has low standards. You close the book. You're not praying today. You prayed yesterday or maybe last week and it didn't take. The words just sat in your mouth like cotton, meaningless and dry. You stopped believing in 1960, right around the same time you realised that God helps those who help themselves, and you've been helping yourself to everything that isn't nailed down ever since. If God wanted to intervene, he's had plenty of chances. The fact that you're still here is either a miracle or a clerical error. There's a knock at the door. 3 sharp raps. That's your manager. He knocks like he's serving a warrant. You don't answer. He knocks again. You consider hiding in the bathroom, but he's got a key, and besides, where would you go? He'll let himself in eventually. He always does. That's what you pay him for, to track you down and drag you to wherever you're supposed to be. The door opens. He doesn't look surprised to find you standing here in yesterday's clothes with a cigarette and a bottle. He stopped being surprised by you in 1965. Now he just looks tired. He's always tired. You do that to people. You're exhausting to love, expensive to maintain, dangerous to enable, but you're profitable, so here he is, ready to load you into a car and point you at a stage. He says, "You look like hell." You say, "I feel worse." He doesn't laugh. He used to laugh at your jokes. Now he just sighs and checks his watch and tells you the car's outside. You grab your jacket, black, always black, and your sunglasses, even though it's barely dawn. The sunglasses aren't for the sun. They're so people can't see your pupils, which are doing things pupils shouldn't do. They're so you can close your eyes during conversations and no one will notice you've left the building. You step outside. The morning air hits you like cold water. It's too bright, too loud, too much. The world is always too much when you're running this hot. You slide into the back of the car and your manager gets in beside you. He's talking. Something about the schedule, about the radio interview at noon, about the photographer who wants a shot for Life magazine. You nod along, you hear every third word. You're already halfway gone, already running through tonight's set list in your head, already wondering if you've got enough pills to get through tomorrow. The car starts moving. You watch the motel disappear in the side mirror. Another room, another city, another morning you survived. You whisper it under your breath. So quiet even you can barely hear it. Just get through tonight. It's the same lie you tell yourself every day, the same promise you break every night, but you say it anyway, because what else is there? You light another cigarette. The window's cracked. The smoke escapes into the morning. You're still here. Unfortunately, you're supposed to meet a preacher. This seemed like a good idea 3 days ago when you agreed to it. Redemption, rehabilitation, all those R words that sound promising when you're sober and suicidal when you're not. The preacher's name is something biblical. They're always named something biblical. Mark, or Luke, or Ezekiel. Men who think they can save you by sitting you down in a church basement and reading scripture until the demons get bored and leave. You show up high. This wasn't the plan. The plan was to show up clear-headed and humble, to say the things June wants you to say, to pretend you're turning a corner. But corners require spatial awareness, and you lost track of where you are about 40 miles back when you took 3 pills at a gas station and chased them with lukewarm coffee that tasted like burnt dirt. Now you're not high so much as hovering, your feet on the ground but your brain somewhere near the ceiling, watching yourself from a distance. The church is small, white paint peeling, cross on top like it's trying to convince God it's still relevant. You park crooked across 2 spaces because depth perception is more of a suggestion than a rule right now. Your hands are steady on the wheel, too steady. That's how you know you've taken too much. When the shaking stops, when everything goes smooth and precise and your heart sounds like it's trying to send Morse code through your ribcage. The preacher meets you at the door. He's younger than you expected. They're always younger than you expect. He's got that clean look, ironed shirt, combed hair, eyes that still believe in things. He smiles. It's genuine. That's the worst part. You can work with cynical, you can charm cynical, but genuine requires you to be a person, and you're not sure you qualify anymore. You shake his hand. Your palm is sweating. His isn't. Advantage. God. Inside, the church smells like old hymnals and wood polish, and the specific kind of dust that only exists in buildings where people come to confess. The pews are empty, just you and him and Jesus on the cross looking disappointed. You've seen that look before. You sit down in the front row because sitting in the back would be admitting you're looking for an exit. The preacher sits beside you, too close. You can smell his aftershave, something clean, something that suggests he went home last night and slept in his own bed and woke up without checking his pockets for casualties. He's talking. You're nodding. The words are sliding past you like water off glass. Something about grace. Something about forgiveness. The same sermon you've heard 100 times from 100 different men who all think they're the first person to tell you that God loves you anyway. You want to tell him, I know God loves me. That's the problem. If he didn't, he'd let me go. Instead, he keeps me here, keeps stringing this out, keeps making tomorrow happen when yesterday should have been the end. The lights are doing things, flickering, or maybe that's just your brain. You blink hard, trying to reset, but when you open your eyes, the preacher has 2 heads, then 1, then 2 again. You press your palms against your knees. The wood of the pew is solid, real. You focus on that. Texture, temperature. The specific way it's worn smooth by decades of congregations who came here because they believed sitting in this room would change them. It didn't change them. It won't change you. But you're both here anyway, pretending. You try to stand up. Your legs don't get the message right away. There's a lag between intention and action, like your body's buffering. The preacher reaches out to steady you and you wave him off. You're fine. You're always fine. Fine is your default setting, even when you're very obviously not fine. You make it to your feet. The room tilts, you tilt with it. This is called balance. You mumble something about needing air. Or maybe you don't mumble anything. Maybe you just walk. The preacher's calling after you, but his voice sounds like it's coming from underwater. You push through the doors and the sunlight hits you like a physical blow. You shield your eyes, your truck is there, you think that's your truck. Same colour, same dent in the bumper from that time in Arkansas when you tried to park and forgot how cars work. You don't remember getting in. But you're in. The keys are in the ignition. Were they always there? Did you put them there? These are questions for someone more sober. You turn the key, the engine coughs to life. You're driving now. That's fine. You drive better high than most people drive sober. That's what you tell yourself. That's the lie that's kept you alive this long. The road stretches out, empty, clean. You're doing 70, then 80. Then you stop looking at the speedometer because numbers are irrelevant when you're trying to drive faster than whatever's chasing you. The radio's playing something. Country. Might be your song, might be somebody else's. They all sound the same when you're this far gone. You turn it up until the speakers distort. The bass rattles in your chest like a second heartbeat. This is better. This is good. This is fine. You don't see the turn-off, or you see it and decide it doesn't apply to you. Laws are for people who have something to lose. You've already lost everything that mattered. What's left is just stage props and press releases. The truck lurches off the main road onto something that might be a road or might be a suggestion. Dirt, rocks, scrub brush that scrapes the undercarriage with a sound like fingernails on metal. There's smoke. You notice it in the rearview mirror first. A thin grey ribbon rising up behind you. Then you smell it. Not engine smoke, not rubber. Something organic. Something burning that shouldn't be. You stop the truck, or the truck stops itself. You're not sure which. You get out and your boots hit dirt that's wrong somehow. Too hot. You look down. There's fire. Small. Growing. Spreading through the dry grass like it's been waiting its whole life for you to arrive. You watch it for a moment. It's beautiful in an awful kind of way. Orange and yellow and that particular shade of red that looks like rage made visible. You should stop it. Should stomp it out or find water or do something other than stand here. But you're fascinated. This is what you do. You show up and things start burning. It's your gift, your curse, your signature. You laugh. It comes out strange, too loud, too sharp. The fire doesn't care. It's spreading faster now, running through the brush with purpose, with hunger. You try to remember where you are. California, maybe. Somewhere dry enough that fire is less a possibility than an inevitability. Somewhere people will care about this tomorrow. Somewhere you'll read about this in a newspaper and think, that was me. I did that. You get back in the truck. The smart thing would be to go back, to find the preacher, to call someone. But Smart left the building about 6 pills ago. You drive forward instead, deeper into whatever this is. The road isn't really a road anymore. It's a memory of a road, a suggestion. The truck's struggling. You can hear it complaining. Metal against rock, engine whining. You don't stop. Stopping is admitting defeat. You're not defeated. You're just temporarily inconvenienced by physics. The fire follows. You watch it in the mirror. It's not following you. It's following the wind, following the dry fuel, following the path of the least resistance. But it feels personal. Like you've conjured something and now it wants to see how this ends. You drive for another mile, maybe. Distance doesn't make sense anymore. Then the truck decides it's done. The engine coughs, sputters, dies. You turn the key. Nothing. You try again. Still nothing. The battery's clicking like it's trying to tell you something in code. You get out again. The air is thick now. Smoke and heat and the smell of burning sage. The fire is closer. Not close enough to panic about yet, but close enough that panic is on the schedule for later. You start walking. Your legs feel stronger now. The adrenaline is cutting through the drugs or maybe joining forces with them. Either way, you're moving with purpose, away from the fire, towards something, anywhere that isn't here. You walk for what feels like hours, but is probably 20 minutes. Time is negotiable when your heart rate is negotiable. You end up on a ridge overlooking what used to be forest, and is now turning into a demonstration of entropy. The fire is bigger than you thought. Much bigger. It's not your fire anymore, it's just fire. It's doing what fire does, consuming everything in reach and reaching further than it should. There's ash in your hair. You can feel it. Gritty and light. You run your hand through and it comes away grey. You look at your palm like it belongs to someone else. There's a siren in the distance, getting closer. That's probably for you. That's probably bad. You should feel something about that. Guilt, fear, regret. But you're running on fumes and pharmaceuticals and whatever instinct keeps you moving when moving is the only option left. The cops show up before you can decide what to do. 2 cars. Lights but no sirens now that they've found you. They get out slow, hands near their belts but not on them. They know who you are. Everyone knows who you are. That's the blessing and the curse. You can't disappear even when you want to, especially when you want to. You're barefoot. You notice this now. You lost your boots somewhere between the truck and here. This is becoming a pattern. The cops notice too. One of them says something about shoes. You shrug. What do you say to that? Sorry, officer. I was busy starting California's largest wildfire in a decade and forgot to keep track of my footwear. They ask for your license. You give them a signed headshot from your jacket pocket. You're not trying to be funny. It's just what you have. They look at it. Look at you. Look at each other. They don't arrest you. They should. They will eventually, but not today. Today they just put you in the back of the car and drive you away from the fire you started but won't admit to. The radio crackles. Someone's saying numbers. Acres. 500 something. Contained. Not contained. You stop listening. You close your eyes behind your sunglasses. The car smells like vinyl and regret. You whisper to yourself 508 acres. You don't know how you know this number, but you do. And somewhere in those acres, 49 California condors are dying. You don't know that yet either, but you will. Everyone will. And they'll make sure you never forget it. The courtroom smells like furniture polish and institutional disappointment. You're sitting at a table wearing a black suit that June picked out because left to your own devices you'd show up in the same clothes you've been wearing for 3 days. Your lawyer is beside you, expensive and nervous. He keeps shuffling papers like they're about to tell him something different than what they said 5 minutes ago. They won't. The facts don't change just because you wish they would. The prosecutor is a woman in her 40s with the kind of face that suggests she's been waiting her whole career for someone exactly like you to walk into her courtroom. She's got a folder. It's thick. You know what's in it without looking. Photographs of burnt trees, charts showing acreage, witness statements from firefighters who spent 2 weeks cleaning up your mess. And somewhere in there, a list of 49 dead birds with Latin names you can't pronounce. She calls them sacred. You roll your eyes before you can stop yourself. Your lawyer kicks you under the table. Not hard. Just enough to remind you that eye-rolling at federal prosecutors is generally considered bad strategy. But sacred. They're buzzards. Big ones, sure. Rare ones, absolutely. But they're still buzzards. They eat dead things. They circle dying things. You've got more in common with them than anyone in this room wants to admit. The judge is old. He's got that look. Seen everything. Believes nothing. Tired of people like you thinking the rules are optional. He asks if you understand the charges. You nod. Your lawyer says yes for you because your nods aren't legally binding. Destruction of federal property. Damage to protected wildlife habitat. Reckless endangerment. The words pile up like kindling. All you did was drive a truck. All you did was be yourself. And somehow, that's a federal crime now. They ask if you feel remorse. This is a trap. If you say yes, you're admitting guilt. If you say no, you're a monster. You lean into the microphone, it squeals with feedback. You say, buzzards had it coming. Your lawyer drops his pen. The courtroom goes quiet in that specific way that means you've just made things worse. You don't take it back. You're not sure you could if you wanted to. The prosecutor stands up. She's got photographs now. 8x10 glosses of charred earth and dead birds. She holds them up one at a time like she's showing flashcards to a child. She wants you to feel something. She wants the room to see you feel something. But you've been performing feelings for so long you're not sure which ones are real anymore. So you just sit there, sunglasses on indoors like you're protecting state secrets, and watch her build her case. They talk about numbers. 508 acres. That's specific. That's measured. Someone walked that land with instruments and calculated exactly how much of California you destroyed. 49 condors, endangered. There were only a few hundred left in the world and you killed 49 of them. The math is simple. The guilt should be simple too. But guilt requires caring, and you burned through your capacity for caring somewhere around acre 200. Your lawyer negotiates. That's what you pay him for. Back and forth. Offers and counter-offers. The government wants $125,000. You laugh. Actually laugh. Out loud. The judge's gavel comes down like a gunshot. Your lawyer whispers that you need to take this seriously. You whisper back that you don't have $125,000. That's not true. You have it. You just don't want to give it to them. There's a difference. They settle on $82,000. You agree because agreeing means you can leave. Your lawyer says you'll pay in installments. The judge says fine. You know you won't pay it all. You'll pay enough to make them stop calling. You'll pay enough to look compliant. Then you'll forget about it the same way you forget about everything that isn't a stage or a pill bottle or June's voice on the phone asking where you are. The press is waiting outside. They're always waiting outside. Cameras and microphones and people who get paid to watch you self-destruct in real time. Someone shouts a question about the fire. Someone else asks if you're sorry. You stop on the courthouse steps. Your lawyer grabs your elbow, but you shake him off. You've got something to say. You always have something to say. That's the problem. You tell them the birds were old. This is a lie. You have no idea how old they were. But it sounds better than the truth, which is that you don't think about birds the same way these people do. You tell them it was an accident. This is partly true. You didn't mean to start a fire. You just meant to drive too fast while too high and see what happened. What happened was fire. That's not your fault. That's California's fault for being dry. That's the sun's fault for being hot. That's God's fault for making you in the first place. The headline the next day reads, "Cash burns forest." You kind of love it. Your manager hates it. June hates it. The label is having emergency meetings about your image and your future, and whether you're more valuable as a cautionary tale or a cautionary tale with a guitar. You tell them you're leaning into it. The devil in black. The man who burns things down and walks away. It's a brand. It's marketable. It's the truth wearing a costume that makes it look like fiction. Ticket sales go up. Of course they do. People don't want to see the man from the records anymore. They want to see the man from the newspapers. They want to see the one who might not make it through the set, who might light something on fire or collapse or say something that ends up in court. You're not a musician anymore. You're a spectacle. And spectacles sell out theatres. The label pretends to be angry. They send you strongly worded letters about responsibility and reputation. Then they book you for 30 more shows. Then they leak the fire story to more magazines. Then they act surprised when you show up to interviews high and belligerent and exactly what everyone expects. This is the game. Everyone knows the rules. You play the monster. They profit from the monster. Everyone goes home happy except you, and you stopped mattering to yourself years ago. You put the fire in your next song. Not explicitly. You're not stupid. But you write about burning bridges and scorched earth and the way smoke looks when it rises against a blue sky. You write about destruction as purification, about how sometimes you have to burn everything down to see what's worth keeping. The critics call it raw, honest, your best work in years. They don't know you wrote it in 20 minutes in a hotel room while coming down from a 3-day high. You walk out of the courthouse and light a cigarette. The irony isn't lost on anyone. A reporter asks if you're worried about starting another fire. You blow smoke in his direction and smile, not the stage smile, the real one. The one that suggests you might be joking or might be threatening or might be both. You say, "I'll be more careful next time." He writes it down. Tomorrow it'll be a quote. Next week it'll be evidence of your depravity. Next month it'll be forgotten because you'll have done something worse. Your lawyer catches up with you at the car. He's sweating. It's not hot out, but he's sweating anyway. You do that to people. You're a stress multiplier. He hands you papers to sign. You don't read them. You never read them. That's what you pay him for. You sign where he points. Your signature looks like it belongs to someone having a seizure. This is consistent with your brand. He says you got off easy. He says they could have pushed for criminal charges. He says you need to lay low for a while. You nod along. You're not listening. You're thinking about the set list for tonight's show. You're thinking about adding a song about fire, right in the middle, right when everyone's comfortable. You'll tell the story first, the whole story, not the version for newspapers, the real version, or your version of the real version, which is close enough to true that it doesn't matter. The car ride back is quiet. Your manager is driving. He's not talking to you. He hasn't been talking to you for 3 days. This is fine. You prefer it when people stop trying. Trying is exhausting for everyone involved. He turns on the radio. It's your song. The old one. The one from before the fire, before the pills got creative, before you became this. You reach over and turn it off. He doesn't turn it back on. This is how you communicate now, through silence and switches. You think about the condors, not because you feel guilty. You're past guilt. Guilt is for people who still think they can fix things. But you think about them anyway. 49 birds who were just doing bird things, flying, eating, existing, and then you showed up and that was that. You didn't mean to kill them, but you did. And meaning doesn't change outcomes. Intent doesn't unburn things. You're a forest fire in a human suit, and everyone who gets close enough finds out eventually. You close your eyes. The pills are wearing off. You can feel the edges of yourself coming back. The doubt, the fear, the specific kind of exhaustion that isn't physical. You've got 3 hours before the show. 3 hours to find more pills, to get right, to become the person people paid to see. 3 hours to remember why you're doing this at all. You come up empty, but you'll go on stage anyway. You always do. The courthouse disappears in the rearview mirror. You light another cigarette. The judge said stay out of trouble. Everyone always says stay out of trouble. Like trouble is something you go looking for. Like you're not trouble yourself. Like you're not the thing other people need to avoid. You whisper to the window, 49 birds. You don't know why. Maybe because someone should say it out loud. Maybe because no one else will. Maybe because you're the only person in the world who's thinking about them right now, and that seems wrong somehow. They deserved better than you. Everything does. You're doing 90 when the truck decides physics applies to you after all. Not the Ford from the fire. They towed that one. Turned it into evidence or scrap or a cautionary tale for other trucks. This is a new one. Newer. Same colour because you're not creative enough to branch out from black. Same dent in the bumper because you're not careful enough to avoid the same mistakes. Different registration, same ending. You don't remember why you're going this fast. There was a reason 3 miles ago. Maybe a show, maybe an argument, maybe just the specific kind of restlessness that requires velocity to feel like progress. Your foot is on the gas and the pedal is on the floor, and the engine is screaming at you in mechanical language that you're too high to translate. The road is straight, empty. The kind of empty that makes you think you could drive forever if forever was something you wanted. Then it's not straight anymore. Or maybe it is and you're not. Hard to tell when the world tilts sideways and the steering wheel becomes decorative. You're spinning, or the truck is spinning, or the earth is spinning and you're the only thing standing still. The windshield shows you sky, then road, then sky again. You're not scared. Should be scared. But fear requires a future tense, and you've been living in continuous present for so long, you forgot what comes next. The truck flips. You know this because you're upside down and gravity is doing things to your internal organs that probably violate their contract. Something glass shatters. Something metal screams. You're weightless for a moment. Actually weightless. Not the pharmaceutical approximation, and then you're not. You hit something, the something hits back. This is Newton's third law in real time. Then you're outside. You don't remember the transition. 1 second you're inside a truck that's committing suicide. The next you're on the ground beside it watching the wheels still spinning. There's blood. Yours, probably. Your lip is split. Your forehead is doing something warm and wet. Your left arm feels like it belongs to someone else who's currently on fire. But you're outside. This is the important part. Outside is better than inside when inside is upside down and filled with broken glass. You stand up. This takes 3 tries. The first 2 times your legs forget they're supposed to support weight. The third time you make it vertical through sheer spite. You're bleeding from multiple places. You catalogue them the way you'd catalogue groceries. Forehead, lip, left forearm where it scraped something jagged. Right knee, even though your jeans aren't torn, so that's concerning. You're covered in amphetamine blister packs. They must have been in your jacket pocket and evacuated during the gymnastics routine the truck just performed. You laugh. This comes out wrong, too loud, too strange, like you're laughing at a joke only you heard. But it is funny. You just totaled a truck and the only thing that survived intact was your drugs. That's not irony. That's God having a sense of humour. The radio is still playing. Not the truck radio, that's dead. But somewhere. Maybe a house nearby. Maybe in your head. Your song. One of yours. The old one about trains and loneliness and going somewhere because anywhere is better than here. The cigarette is still in your mouth. Somehow. It's bent but lit. You didn't even know you had a cigarette. Must have lit it before the physics lesson. You take a drag and your lip stings where it's split, but the nicotine hits better than it has any right to. You look at the truck. It's on its side now, settled, done performing. The passenger door is pointing at the sky like a surrender flag. There's smoke, not fire smoke, engine smoke. The sad kind that means expensive repairs and insurance questions you don't want to answer. A cop shows up. This is faster than expected. You're still standing there, surveying the damage, bleeding casually like it's a minor inconvenience. The cop gets out slow, hand on his belt. He's seen worse, but he's also seen you, and you register somewhere between situation and incident report. He's young, younger than you. Everyone's younger than you feel right now. He says something. You miss it. He says it again. License and registration. You're covered in pill packets. They're stuck to your jacket with blood and sweat like the world's worst scrapbook. The cop sees them. You see him see them. This is the moment where things could go very bad or very weird. You reach into your jacket slow, real slow, the kind of slow that says I'm not a threat, just a disaster. You pull out a signed 8x10, your face, your name, your signature already on it because you sign them in batches when you're bored. You hand it to him. He looks at it, looks at you, looks at the truck. The math is happening behind his eyes. You can see him calculating. Arrest Johnny Cash, become the guy who arrested Johnny Cash. Explain to his sergeant why Johnny Cash is in holding. Deal with the paperwork, the press, the fact that his mum probably has your records. Or let Johnny Cash walk away, tell a good story at the bar, skip the paperwork. He asked for a photo instead. You almost laugh again but swallow it because laughing at cops is how you turn or into and. You nod. He hands you his ticket book. You sign it. Your signature still looks like a seismograph during an earthquake, but that just makes it more authentic. He thanks you. Actually, thanks you. Like you did him a favour by destroying a truck and bleeding on his Tuesday. He tells you to be careful. You promise nothing. He gets in his car. He leaves. You're standing on the side of the road watching his taillights disappear like the last rational thought you had. You need to call someone. Your manager, June, a tow truck. God. Someone who has answers to questions you haven't figured out how to ask yet. But there's no phone. There's just road and blood and a truck that used to work. You start walking. Not toward anything. Just away. Away is always an option. Away is your default setting. 4 miles. You walk 4 miles in boots that weren't made for walking. On a shoulder that's more gravel than path. In a sun that feels personal. Cars pass. They don't stop. Why would they? You're just some guy in black walking down a highway bleeding. That's Tuesday in California. That's not even news. You find a payphone outside a gas station that smells like gasoline and broken dreams. You dig for change. Find a quarter. Miracle. You call your manager. He picks up on the 4th ring. Sounds tired. He's always tired. You do that to people. You're exhausting in ways that require overtime. You tell him you need a new truck. He asks what happened to the old one. You say physics. He doesn't laugh. He stopped laughing at you in 1966. He asks where you are. You read the gas station sign. Somewhere. California. Still. Always California lately. You're starting to think California is personal. He says he'll send someone. You say don't bother. You'll figure it out. He knows you won't. You know you won't. But you say it anyway because saying you'll figure it out sounds better than saying you're standing outside a gas station covered in blood and pills and evidence of poor life choices. He's talking. Something about tonight's show. Something about the promoter. Something about responsibility. You stop listening. The quarter runs out. The dial tone is mercy. You go inside. The kid at the counter looks at your face and decides not to ask questions. Smart kid. You buy a Coke and a pack of cigarettes with money you find in your sock. The Coke is cold. Too cold. It hurts your teeth, but you drink it anyway because your mouth tastes like copper and regret. The kid is staring. Not at you, at your jacket, at the pill packets still stuck to you like pharmaceutical barnacles. You peel them off one by one, drop them in the trash, except 2. You pocket 2 because you're not stupid and tonight's show isn't going to play itself. The kid watches, says nothing. You nod at him. He nods back. This is communication. You leave. The bell above the door rings. You're back in the sun. It's still too bright. Still too much. Still California. You don't mention the woman. The one who was in the truck with you. The one who's not here now. She's fine. Probably. She got out before the flip or during the flip, or she was never there at all and you invented her somewhere between the pills and the pavement. It doesn't matter. She's gone. Everyone eventually is. That's the one thing you can count on. Your arm is throbbing now. The adrenaline is wearing off and the pain is introducing itself properly. You touch your forehead. It's stopped bleeding. Or you've run out of blood. Either way, it's handled. You light a cigarette with the bent one you somehow didn't lose. The smoke curls up into the California sky. A car honks. You flip it off without looking. This is reflex. This is muscle memory. This is who you are when no one's watching. You'll make it to the show. You always make it to the show. Someone will pick you up, or you'll walk, or you'll steal a car, or God will intervene because he hasn't let you die yet, and he's probably got reasons. Bad reasons. Reasons that involve more suffering and better stories. But reasons, you're not done. You're never done. That's the curse. That's the blessing. That's the punchline to a joke that stopped being funny in 1963. You sit down on the curb, just for a minute, just until the world stops tilting. A truck drives by, then another, then a sedan with a family inside looking happy. You watch them pass. You wonder what that's like. Happy. Stable. Not bleeding on a curb outside a gas station in California after totaling your second truck this year. Probably boring, probably quiet, probably safe. You stand up, your knee complains, you ignore it. You've been ignoring your body for so long it's basically white noise now. You start walking again, towards something, away from everything, same destination. You're still here, unfortunately. 4 miles down, infinity to go. You walk on stage and 2,000 people scream your name. Not your real name, your other name, the one that fits better in headlines. The sound hits you in the chest like a physical thing, like a drug you can't get at a pharmacy, like proof that you still exist in a way that matters. This is better than heroin, cleaner, more immediate. This is what keeps you coming back even when everything else is falling apart. The lights are white hot, industrial, the kind of bright that erases everything that isn't this moment. You can't see past the front row, but you can feel them out there, pressed together, waiting, believing that you're about to give them something worth the price of admission. You're not. You're about to give them whatever you've got left, which might be genius or might be fumes. But they don't know that yet. That's the magic. The moment before you open your mouth when anything is still possible. Your guitar's already strapped on. Black. Obviously. It weighs more than it should. Or your arms are weaker than they were. Hard to tell when you haven't eaten anything solid in 2 days and your primary food group is pharmaceutical. You strum once. The sound bounces off the back wall. Someone near the front screams. You haven't even done anything yet. You haven't earned this. But they're giving it to you anyway. This is faith. This is religion. This is why you're still here when you should be dead. You don't say hello. You never say hello. Small talk is for people who aren't sure of their welcome. You just launch into the first song. The big one. The one they came to hear. The one you've played so many times the chords happen without thinking. Your fingers find their places on the frets like they're going home. Muscle memory. The only kind of memory that doesn't betray you. Your voice comes out rough, raw, like you've been screaming or crying or both. You haven't. But it sounds like you have, and that's what matters. The crowd is moving, swaying, singing along to words you wrote when you were someone else. You can see them in the front row. Eyes closed, hands up, lips forming lyrics they know better than you do anymore. They're having a religious experience. You're having a transaction. You give them this moment. They give you their attention. Their money. Their belief that you're still the man from the records instead of the man from the arrest reports. Your fingers are bleeding. You notice this during the second verse. The strings are cutting into calluses that should be thick enough by now but aren't, because you haven't been taking care of anything including yourself. The blood makes the strings slippery. You press harder. The pain sharpens your focus. This is good. This is useful. Pain means you're still connected to your body, still tethered to something real. You throw a bottle into the crowd. Empty. From backstage. Someone put it there knowing you'd do this. It's part of the show now. Part of the brand. The crowd catches it like communion wine. like you're distributing pieces of yourself and they're holy. They're not. They're props. But perception is reality when you're this high and they're this far away. Someone holds it up like a trophy. Someone else tries to grab it. You don't watch the resolution. You're already into the next song. You're high. You're always high. But tonight it's working in your favour. The edge is sharp enough to cut through the exhaustion, but not so sharp it cuts you. You're in the pocket. That space between chaos and control where the best performances live. Your fingers know what to do. Your voice knows when to break. Your body knows how to move, even though you're not entirely sure you're the one moving it. You forget the lyrics to the third song. Completely blank. The words that should be there aren't. So you improvise. You string together phrases from other songs, add words that sound like they fit, make up mythology in real time. The crowd doesn't notice, or they notice and think it's intentional, that you're so raw, so real, so connected, to the moment that you're creating something new right in front of them. They're not wrong. You're creating something, just not what they think. A stagehand comes up between songs, says something you don't hear, probably that you're running long or running short or running. You wave him off. You're in charge here. This is your kingdom. These 4 square feet of stage where you're allowed to be broken and call it art. He backs away. Smart. You've thrown things at people who interrupted you mid-set. Guitars, bottles, microphone stands, whatever was closest. The crowd loved it. The stagehands didn't. But the stagehands don't pay for tickets. You talk between songs. The stories get longer as the set goes on. You tell them about the fire, not the real story. The version where you're the hero or the villain or the victim, depending on which beats get laughs. You tell them about the truck crash. Embellish it. Make it sound like you walked away without a scratch, like physics bows to you, like death took a look and said, not today. They eat it up. They want you to be mythical. So you are. It's the least you can do. Halfway through, you collapse. Not all the way. Just your knees. Just for a second. The guitar catches you. The microphone stand catches you. The crowd gasps. You play it off. Make it look intentional, like you were so consumed by the emotion of the song that your body couldn't handle it. They believe you. They believe everything you sell them. That's the real show, not the music, the mythology. The idea that they're watching someone who feels more than normal people feel, who burns brighter, who's going to die young, and they were there to see it. You wipe your forehead. Your hand comes away wet. Sweat and blood and stage makeup that's supposed to make you look alive under the lights. You're falling apart in real time and they're calling it artistry. A critic in the 3rd row is taking notes. Tomorrow he'll write that you're raw, visceral, a force of nature. He won't write that you're high and bleeding and held together by spite and schedule. You spit on the stage. Not at anyone. Just at the ground. At the moment. At the absurdity of this whole situation. The crowd thinks it's punk rock before punk rock exists. They cheer. You're not trying to be cool. You're just running out of places to put the taste in your mouth. The taste of pills and cigarettes and the specific flavour of your own decline. The band is watching you. They've been watching you all night, exchanging glances when they think you're not looking. The drummer speeds up. You speed up with him, or you slow down and he has to match you. Authority is whoever's got the microphone. That's you. That'll always be you. They're hired guns. Replaceable. You're the name on the poster. The reason anyone bought tickets. The reason this room exists at all. You tell them you love them. The crowd. You don't. You can't. You don't even know them. But they want to be loved by you. They want to matter to someone who matters. So you give them the words. The same 3 words you give to June and your kids and your manager and God. Words that stopped meaning anything around the same time they started meaning everything. I love you is just the price of admission to other people's belief. You walk off mid-song, not the end of the song, the middle, right in the middle of a verse that was going somewhere. You just stop, unplug your guitar and walk. The band keeps playing for a few bars out of confusion. Then they stop too. The crowd doesn't know what to do. Is this part of the show? Is he coming back? Did he die? You're backstage before they figure it out. You lean against the wall. Your chest is heaving. Your vision is narrowing. Your heart is doing the thing again. The skippy thing. The thing that suggests maybe you pushed too hard this time. A roadie hands you a bottle. You don't ask what's in it. Could be water, could be whiskey, could be lighter fluid. You drink it, doesn't matter. Liquid is liquid when your throat is this dry. You finish it. Wipe your mouth. Your hand shakes. Not from fear, from depletion. You've given everything you had and then borrowed more from tomorrow's reserve. Tomorrow you is going to wake up bankrupt. But that's tomorrow's problem. June is there, in the wings. You didn't see her before, but you see her now. She's not smiling. She's never smiling anymore when she watches you perform. She's calculating, running numbers, trying to figure out if you're going to make it through the night or if this is the night she becomes a widow before she's a wife. You try to smile at her. It comes out wrong. She doesn't smile back. The crowd is chanting your name over and over. They want more. They always want more. You gave them 45 minutes and they want a lifetime. You push off the wall. Your legs hold. Barely. But they hold. You're going back out there. Not because you want to, not because you should, but because this is what you do. This is who you are. The man who gets back up. The man who gives encores. The man who dies on stage someday, but not today. You plug back in. Walk back out. The crowd explodes. Like you've been resurrected. Like you're Jesus, but with better stage presence. You launch into the biggest song, the one everyone knows, the one you're sick of, but they never will be. Your voice cracks on the high note. They don't care. They're screaming too loud to hear it anyway. You finish. The last chord rings out, hangs in the air like smoke. You bow. Not deep. Just your head. Just enough. They're standing. All of them. On their feet. Screaming. Crying. Believing they just witnessed something transcendent. They did. Just not what they think. They witnessed a man hold himself together with stage lights and stubbornness for 52 minutes. That's the real miracle, not the music, the survival. You walk off. For real this time. Your manager meets you backstage, says something about tomorrow night. Another show, another city, another crowd that wants to watch you burn. You nod. You'll be there. You're always there. That's the curse. That's the blessing. That's the only thing you're still good at. June hands you a towel. You wipe your face. The towel comes away pink. Blood and sweat and makeup. You look at it like it's evidence of a crime you can't remember committing. She touches your arm, gentle, the way you touch something fragile that might break. You are fragile. You are breaking. But not yet. Not tonight. Someone's already calling about tomorrow's show. Your manager takes the call. You hear him saying yes to things you haven't agreed to. This is fine. Your life is other people saying yes while you're not in the room. You collapse into a folding chair. Close your eyes. The crowd still cheering, still out there, still wanting more. They can want. You're done. The stage makeup is cracking, the mask is slipping. But you made it. Another show, another night, another win against the odds that are getting longer every time you step into the light. Folsom Prison smells like every bad decision you've ever made concentrated into air. Metal and sweat and industrial soap that's supposed to clean but just makes everything smell like shame with a hint of chemical. You're standing outside the gates wearing black because you're always wearing black, and the guards are looking at you like you're either their salvation or their biggest problem. Maybe both. That's usually how it goes. Your manager thought this was a bad idea. June thought this was a dangerous idea. The label thought this was a publicity stunt. They're all right. But you're doing it anyway because playing for people who actually have nothing to lose sounds more honest than playing for people who paid $30 to watch you pretend to be dangerous. These men don't need you to pretend. They know what real looks like. They're living it. The gates open. They don't swing. They slide. Heavy. Mechanical. The sound they make is finality. This is what closing sounds like. This is what trapped sounds like. You walk through and the guard escorts you down a hallway that's too narrow and too long. Your boots echo. Everything echoes in here. Sound doesn't escape. It just bounces around until it dies of exhaustion. You understand that feeling. The inmates are already gathered. They've been waiting. Someone told them Johnny Cash is coming and they don't quite believe it. Why would he come here? What does the man in black want with the men in orange? You're about to show them. You're about to show yourself. You're more at home here than you've been anywhere in months. These men are honest about what they are. They're not pretending to be something else. That's more than you can say for most of the people you know. You set up on a small stage they've built. Stage is generous. It's a platform. It's elevated enough that everyone can see you die if you die. The microphone is old. The amp is older. This isn't Carnegie Hall. This is the opposite of Carnegie Hall. This is where Carnegie Hall's music comes to die. You plug in. The sound is raw, unpolished, perfect. You didn't come here to be perfect. You came here to be real, or as real as you remember how to be. The warden is nervous. He keeps checking his watch like time might save him from whatever's about to happen. He asks if you're sure about this. You're not sure about anything, but you nod anyway. The lights dim, not for atmosphere, because half of them don't work. The men settle. 2,000 of them. Maybe more, packed into a space meant for half that. They smell like cigarettes and cafeteria food and the specific scent of men who haven't had a choice in so long they've forgotten what choosing feels like. You start with Folsom Prison Blues. Obviously. What else would you start with? This song is their anthem. You wrote it on the outside looking in. They're living it on the inside looking out. When you get to the line about shooting a man in Reno just to watch him die, the place erupts. Not applause, something bigger, recognition. These men have shot people, or stabbed people, or hurt people in ways that got them sent here. They're not cheering the violence. They're cheering being seen, being acknowledged, being more than a number on a cell door. Your voice cracks on the second verse, not from emotion. From dehydration and pills and the fact that you've been screaming into microphones for 15 years and vocal cords don't heal the way other things do, but the crack makes it better, makes it honest. These men don't want your studio voice. They want your real voice, the one that sounds like it's been through something. They've been through something too. This is communion. This is church. This is what religion should feel like, but never does. Someone in the crowd cries during the bridge. You hear it. A sound that cuts through 2,000 men trying to be tough. You look, but you can't see who. It doesn't matter. Someone in here needed to hear this song so badly that it broke them open in public. In prison. Where showing emotion is showing weakness, and weakness gets you killed. But he did it anyway. Your song did that. You did that. This is what music is supposed to do. It's supposed to reach into people and pull something out that they didn't know was there. You keep playing, song after song. The set list you planned goes out the window. You're playing requests, taking shouts from the crowd. Someone yells for a song you haven't played in years. You play it, you butcher it, you forget half the words and make up the rest. They don't care. They're singing with you. 2,000 men who aren't allowed to sing, singing. This is rebellion. This is freedom. This is the only kind of escape they're getting today. June is watching from the wings. You can feel her eyes on you even though you can't see her through the lights. She's dressed too nice for this place. Too clean. Too soft. But she came anyway because you asked her to. Because she knows this matters to you in a way that other shows don't. These men remind you of something. Maybe your father. Maybe yourself. Maybe the version of you that would exist if 3 or 4 things had gone differently. If different pills, different choices, different luck. Between songs you talk. You tell them you understand. You don't. Not really. You've never been locked up for years. You've been locked up for days. Overnight. Until bail. Until your manager made calls. Until your famous face brought you freedom that their faces won't. But you feel it. The trapped thing. The caged thing. You've been in prisons made of other materials. Made of contracts and expectations and the specific weight of other people's dreams for you. It's not the same. But it rhymes, and that's close enough for this moment. The guards are watching. They're not sure if this is good or dangerous. A room full of violent men getting emotional, getting loud, getting reminded that they used to be human before they became numbers. This could go wrong. This could go very wrong. But it doesn't. You're holding them, not with your voice, not with your songs, with your presence, with the fact that you showed up, that you're here, that someone from the outside looked at them and said, "You're worth 3 hours of my time. You're worth being seen." You play I Walk the Line. This one's for June. She knows. Everyone knows. The men know. They understand what it means to love someone from behind bars, to make promises you can't keep, to try to be good when good is the hardest thing you've ever tried to be. Some of them have wives, girlfriends, people who visit, people who stopped visiting. The song hits different when you're singing it to men who broke lines that can't be unbroken. The warden signals, 5 minutes. You've gone over your time. You don't care. He can wait. These men can't. This is all they're getting. When you leave, You're leaving to a tour bus and hotel rooms and a life that's messy but movable. They're staying, in cells, in routine, in time that moves but doesn't go anywhere. You owe them these 5 extra minutes. You owe them more than that, but this is what you've got. You close with something quiet, not a hit. Just a song about being tired, about wanting to go home, about carrying weight that's invisible but crushing. The room goes still, 2,000 men breathing together. You can hear it. The collective inhale, exhale. You're all in this moment, all present, all human. The last note rings out, hangs, dies. Silence. Then noise. Not applause, shouting, stomping. The sound of men who haven't felt anything in so long they forgot what feeling feels like. You unplug. Your hands are shaking. Not from drugs, from adrenaline. From the pure hit of doing something that mattered. This mattered more than the last 100 shows combined. You gave them something, and they gave you something back. Validation, maybe. Or proof that you're still capable of connecting to something real. That underneath the pills and the chaos and the manufactured rebellion, there's still a person who can look at other people and see them. Actually see them. June meets you off stage. She's crying. Not sad crying. Something else. She doesn't say anything. Just touches your face. Gentle. Like you're the one who needs saving. Maybe you are. Maybe you've been the one in prison this whole time. Just a different kind. A prison made of spotlights and expectations and the constant pressure to be the man in black instead of just being a man. The warden thanks you. His voice is tight, professional, but his eyes say something else. They say, you changed something in here today. You broke something open that needed breaking. These men will go back to their cells, back to their routine. But they'll remember this. They'll have this moment, this proof that they're not forgotten, that someone saw them, that they still exist in a way that matters. You walk back down that long hallway, your boots echo again, but different now, lighter somehow, like you left something behind, something heavy you'd been carrying. The gates open, you step out into California sunshine. It's too bright. Too much, too free. You look back. The prison is just a building. But inside are 2,000 men who just became people again for a few hours. Because you showed up. Because you sang. Because you gave a damn when most people won't. The album will sell 1 million copies, but you won't think about that for months. Right now you're just standing outside a prison feeling more alive than you've felt in years. More connected, more human. June is beside you. She takes your hand. You let her. The tour bus is waiting. There's another show tomorrow. Another city. Another crowd of people who paid to see the myth. But today you were real. Today you showed up for people who couldn't leave. And they showed up for you right back. You light a cigarette. The smoke rises into free air. You're still here. Still broken. Still held together by pills and stubbornness and June's patient hand in yours. But for 3 hours you were exactly where you needed to be, doing exactly what you were meant to do. That's more than most people get in a lifetime. You got it in a prison, in front of men who understood what cages feel like, who understood what your songs have always been about, freedom and the lack of it, and the constant desperate reaching towards something just out of reach. You get on the bus. The prison disappears in the rearview mirror. You close your eyes. Tomorrow you'll wake up and wonder if it was real. If you actually went to Folsom. If those men actually cried and cheered and saw you the way you needed to be seen. But June will confirm it. The recording will prove it. The memory will stick. This one matters. In a career of moments, this one actually matters. You still feel empty. But less empty. That's progress. That's something. That's enough for today. June asks if you're sober. You look her in the eyes and lie. The lie comes out smooth because you've practiced it. You've told this specific lie so many times it's muscle memory now. Your face does the right things. Your voice hits the right notes of sincerity. You almost believe yourself. She doesn't believe you. She never believes you. But she accepts the lie because the alternative is calling you out. And calling you out requires energy she doesn't have today. So she nods. You both pretend this is trust when it's actually exhaustion. You tell her you're praying again. This is half true, which makes it half a lie, which makes it fully dishonest. You did pray yesterday, or maybe last week. Time is negotiable when you're living at speed. You opened a Bible and said some words to a ceiling that didn't respond. That counts as prayer the same way falling counts as flying if you don't think about the landing. She wants to believe this. She needs to believe this. So you give her that need wrapped in words that sound holy. The pills are gone, you tell her. They're in your sock right now, right this second. As you're promising they're gone, they're pressed against your ankle, plastic bottles full of future problems disguised as current solutions. She asks to check. You laugh like she made a joke. Create distance through humour. This is misdirection. This is survival. You change the subject before she can ask again. Ask about dinner, about her day, about anything that isn't the truth. She lets you change it. She always lets you change it. This is love or defeat, or both wearing the same tired face. She wants a house. You buy a plane. Not because you need a plane. You don't even like flying. But a plane is a thing. A big thing. A thing that says, look how successful I am, without saying, look how I'm never home. A plane means mobility. Means you can leave whenever the walls start closing in. Means freedom, or the illusion of freedom, which is close enough when you're trapped in your own skin. She looks at the plane. Looks at you. Doesn't say what she's thinking. What she's thinking is probably, this is not a house. This is not stability. This is a very expensive way to run away. She wants a life. You give her concerts. You give her backstage passes and hotel rooms and cities that blur together into one long highway punctuated by stages. This is your life. Therefore it's hers. You've decided this without asking. She comes to shows, stands in the wings, watches you die and resurrect yourself nightly. This is love, you tell yourself. Sharing this. Letting her see you at your worst and your best and everything between. But she doesn't want to watch. She wants to live next to you, not behind you. You don't understand the difference. You swear you'll go to rehab. You say it with conviction, with eye contact, with the kind of sincerity that would convince a jury. She wants to believe it so badly she ignores every signal that you're lying. You book tour dates instead. 30 shows, 40, 50. You fill your calendar with obligations that make rehab impossible. This isn't sabotage. This is strategy. If you're working, you're not using, except you're using while working. But that's different. That's functional. That's just what you need to do the job. The job that keeps you from having to look at yourself long enough to see what you've become. She kisses you before a show. You taste guilt. It's metallic, chemical. The specific flavour of knowing you're not who she thinks you are, or who she needs you to be, or who you promised you'd try to become. You kiss her back like it's armour, like if you press hard enough, mean it enough, love her enough, it'll matter more than the pills in your pocket. It doesn't work that way. Love doesn't cancel out lies, but you try anyway because trying is cheaper than changing. The band knows the truth. They've known since month 2 of the tour when you showed up 3 hours late and couldn't remember what city you were in. They don't say anything. They're paid not to say anything. Their job is to play the songs and pretend you're fine. They're good at their job. They exchange looks when you stumble over lyrics or lose time mid-song. But they cover for you. This is enablement masquerading as loyalty. You're grateful. You hate them for it. Both things are true. June knows too. She's known longer than the band, longer than your manager, maybe longer than you've known yourself. She sees the pills even when you hide them. She smells the lies even when you wrap them in cologne and apologies. But she stays. This is the confusing part. The part you don't understand. You're giving her every reason to leave and she's building reasons to stay. Maybe she loves you. Maybe she's stubborn. Maybe she's invested too much to walk away empty. You don't ask. Asking requires honesty, and honesty is the one currency you're bankrupt in. You promise to call more. You don't. You promise to write. You don't. You promise to be better, do better, try harder. You don't. Your promises are checks you write with no intention of cashing. She collects them anyway, stacks them up like maybe if she gets enough broken promises they'll equal one kept one. Math doesn't work that way. Love doesn't work that way. But you're both doing it anyway because what else is there? You fight before shows. This is routine now. You say something cruel because cruel creates distance, and distance protects you from having to feel how much you're hurting her. She cries. You apologize. The apology is real but temporary. You'll do it again tomorrow and next week. And every time the space between who you are and who you should be gets too visible, she forgives you, always forgives you. Forgiveness is supposed to be holy, but the way you use it feels criminal. Between cities you call her from payphones. These calls are short, full of static and silence and things neither of you say. You tell her you miss her. This is true. You miss the version of you that existed before pills, before stages, before you became this thing that requires spotlights to feel real. But that version is gone. You're mourning someone who died years ago and left you piloting his body through obligations you don't remember agreeing to. She asks about your day. You tell her about the show, never about the pills. Never about the woman in Memphis or the blackout in Denver or the way you woke up in a bathtub in Phoenix with no memory of how you got there. You edit your life down to a version that sounds bad enough to be believable, but not so bad she'd make you choose. Between her and this, between love and the stage, between being John and being Johnny, you're not ready to choose. You'll never be ready to choose. You buy her things, jewellery, dresses, flowers that die in hotel rooms before she can see them. Things are easier than time, cheaper than honesty. She accepts them with a smile that doesn't reach her eyes anymore. You're buying forgiveness on credit. The interest is compounding. Eventually the debt will be too big to pay. But that's future you's problem. Present you has a show in an hour and pills to take and a stage to walk onto like a man who has his life together. You tell her you're changing. This is the biggest lie. You're not changing. You're just getting better at hiding, better at performing sobriety, better at saying the right things in the right tone with the right amount of contrition. Your method acting your own redemption. She's the only audience that matters, and you're giving the performance of your life. She wants to believe it so badly she ignores the evidence, the shaking hands, the weight loss, the way your eyes don't track right, the way you're never fully present even when you're standing right in front of her. Some nights you mean it. You really do want to change, want to be the man she deserves, want to wake up without needing pills to face the day. Want to remember entire weeks instead of highlights and lowlights. But wanting isn't doing. Intending isn't achieving. You're full of good intentions, paving a road to somewhere you don't want to go but can't seem to avoid. She holds your hand in the car. You hold back. Both of you pretending this connection is enough. It's not. It's never enough. But it's what you've got, so you squeeze tighter and hope pressure can substitute for presence. You write songs about her. Beautiful songs. Honest songs. Songs where you're vulnerable and real and everything you can't be in person. She cries when she hears them. These songs are apologies you can't say out loud. They're promises you can't keep in real life. They're the version of you that exists only in melody and metaphor. She loves them. She loves you. These are separate things that you keep confusing. Before you go on stage tonight, she asks one more time, "Are you okay? This is a test. This is a trap. This is a genuine question wrapped in fear, wrapped in love, wrapped in the exhaustion of watching someone drown and not being able to reach them." You say yes. You say it with a smile, the stage smile, the one that fits your face like a mask. She sees through it. Always has. Always will. But she nods anyway, kisses your cheek, whispers, "I love you," like a prayer or a plea or both. You say it back. "I love you" is the easiest lie and the hardest truth. You do love her. You're also destroying her. Both things coexist like contradictions always do in the space between who you are and who you're pretending to be. She walks away to take her place in the wings. You watch her go. Your wife. Your witness. Your evidence that you're still capable of being loved even when you're not capable of loving yourself. The stage is waiting. The crowd is waiting. The pills are in your system, and the guitar is in your hands, and the lights are about to come up. You take a breath. Whisper her name like a talisman. Like if you say it enough, it'll protect you from yourself. It won't, but you say it anyway. Then you walk out into the light, into the lie, into the only place where you make sense anymore. The crowd screams. They love you too. They love who they think you are. You're giving everyone a version of yourself that doesn't exist, playing a character you can't quit. The show must go on. It always goes on, even when you don't want it to. Even when stopping would be mercy. You're not allowed to stop, so you don't. You open your mouth and start to sing, and for 3 minutes you're everyone's except yours, and that's exactly how you want it. You wake up already dying. The motel floor is your mattress, your shirt soaked through with sweat that went cold hours ago. The TV plays static or applause. You can't tell which anymore. Your throat's raw from screaming or singing. The distinction stopped mattering in 1963. You check your pockets, pills with someone else's name on them, a photograph of June folded until her face is wearing away at the creases, a lighter running on fumes. Your hands shake lighting a cigarette. Takes 3 tries. Your heart does that skippy thing. The pause between beats that should worry you more than it does. But worry requires energy. Energy requires caring. You're conserving both for staying alive. The phone rings. You let it. If it's important, they'll call back. They always call back. That's the curse of being you. People don't give up easy. They think if they catch you at the right moment, you'll be the man from the records. The man who doesn't exist before noon. You need to find your boots. One's under the radiator, the other's in the bathtub. You don't ask why. Some questions don't have answers that make things better. There's a note from June on the nightstand, "Don't die today." Not "I love you." Just that. Like it's a chore she's reminding you about. Stay alive. Take out the trash. Pick up milk. You whisper your name out loud. John. Johnny. The man in black. None of them fit. They're names that belong to someone else. Someone who answers phones and shows up on time and remembers what city he's in. You say it again. Quieter. Testing whether it still belongs to you. It doesn't. Hasn't fit in years. But you wear it anyway, because what else are you going to do? There's no coffee. Coffee requires planning. Instead, there's whiskey with backwash and pills that stick in your throat halfway down. You dry swallow 4. The bottle says take 1 daily. You've never been good at following directions. 1 makes you functional. 4 makes you immortal. Or makes you think you're immortal, which is close enough when you've got a show tonight. Your body accepts this breakfast the way a car accepts the wrong kind of fuel. Badly, but it'll run anyway. There's a Bible on the nightstand. You open it at random. Proverbs. Something about the righteous and paths and destruction. You close it. Not today. You don't need a lecture from a book that's never had to sing for its supper. You open the mini-fridge instead. Another note from June. Same handwriting, same message. Don't die today. Maybe it's the same note. Maybe you're living the same day over and over. You count the pills left. 12. Enough for 2 days if you're careful. You're never careful. You practice your stage smile in the TV's dark glass. It doesn't fit your face anymore. Smiling requires muscles you haven't used in weeks. The smile you manage looks like something a corpse would wear, like you're apologizing for still being here. Close enough. They're not paying to see you smile. They're paying to watch you burn. You're late for sound check. You're always late. This is your signature move. They'll wait. They always wait. That's what being the name on the poster buys you. The privilege of making everyone else's time worth less than yours. You tell yourself you'll quit after tonight, after this tour, after the next album. After. After is a beautiful word. It means not now. The pills kick in. Your hands steady. Your heart picks up speed. Solid, mechanical rhythm. You feel sharp, focused, like you could drive to California without stopping. This feeling will last 4 hours. Then you'll pay for it with interest. But that's future you's problem. Future you is an idiot anyway. You're supposed to meet a preacher. You show up high. The pews spin, the lights flicker. God doesn't answer. You wake up 20 miles away with ash in your hair. The truck you drove is half melted. The fire is still going. You don't know how it started. Doesn't matter. 508 acres gone. 49 California condors dead. An endangered species. The cops show up. You're barefoot and grinning. They ask for your license. You give them a signed headshot. You don't get arrested. You get sued by the US government. The courtroom smells like furniture polish and institutional disappointment. The prosecutor calls the birds sacred. You roll your eyes. Your lawyer kicks you under the table. But sacred? They're buzzards. Big ones, sure. Rare ones, absolutely. But they eat dead things. They circle dying things. You've got more in common with them than anyone wants to admit. They ask if you feel remorse. You lean into the microphone. Buzzards had it coming. Your lawyer drops his pen. The room goes quiet. You don't take it back. They settle on $82,000. You agree because agreeing means you can leave. You know you won't pay it all. You'll pay enough to make them stop calling. Then you'll forget about it. The press is waiting outside. Someone asks if you're sorry. You tell them the birds were old. This is a lie. You have no idea how old they were, but it sounds better than the truth. The headline reads, "Cash Burns Forest." You kind of love it. Your manager hates it. The label has emergency meetings. You tell them you're leaning into it. The devil in black, the man who burns things down and walks away. It's a brand. It's marketable. Ticket sales go up. Of course they do. People don't want to see the man from the records. They want to see the man from the newspapers, the one who might not make it through the set. You're not a musician anymore. You're a spectacle. And spectacles sell out theatres. You're doing 90 when the truck decides physics applies to you. The truck flips. You get thrown. You stand up, bleeding, with a cigarette still in your mouth. You laugh. Because the radio's still playing your song. A cop shows up. You're covered in amphetamine blister packs. He recognises you, asks for a photo instead of cuffing you. You sign his ticket book. He lets you go. You walk 4 miles barefoot to a payphone. Call your manager. "I'm going to need a new truck." You don't mention the blood. You don't mention the woman who was with you. You walk on stage and 2,000 people scream. The sound hits you in the chest like a drug. Better than heroin. Cleaner. This is what keeps you coming back. The lights are white hot. Your guitar weighs more than it should. You're sweating before you play a note. The crowd screams your name like if they scream loud enough they can summon the version from the records. They're not getting that person. That person is dead. They're getting this person. Factory refurbished, held together with pills and spite. You break a string mid-song. The steel snaps like a tiny scream. You don't stop. Stopping would break the spell. Your bandmates exchange glances. They're having silent conversations about whether you'll make it through this set. You walk off stage during the bridge. Not planned, just needed to. The band keeps playing. They've learned. This is their job now. Keep the music going while you have whatever crisis you're having. You cry for 30 seconds in the dressing room. Not sad crying, just leaking. Then you punch the wall. Your knuckles split. Blood is honest. Blood doesn't lie. Then you laugh. Because what else is there? You're bleeding in a dressing room while 2,000 people wait for you to finish pretending to be the person they think you are. This is Tuesday. The encore brings you back to life for 3 minutes. You walk back out. The crowd explodes like you've been resurrected. Your voice cracks in 3 places. The crowd thinks it's emotion, rawness. They don't know it's your vocal cords filing a formal complaint. You finish. 2,000 people are on their feet, screaming, having spiritual experiences. You're having a medical emergency disguised as a performance. This is the gap between perception and reality. You live in that gap. You are that gap. Folsom Prison smells like every bad decision you've ever made. Metal and sweat and industrial soap that makes everything smell like shame with a hint of chemical. You're wearing black because you're always wearing black. The guards look at you like you're either salvation or their biggest problem. Maybe both. The inmates are waiting. 2,000 of them, packed into a space meant for half that. They smell like cigarettes and cafeteria food, and men who haven't had a choice in so long they've forgotten what choosing feels like. You start with Folsom Prison Blues, obviously. When you get to the line about shooting a man in Reno, the place erupts. Not applause, recognition. These men have shot people. They're not cheering the violence, they're cheering being seen. Someone in the crowd cries during the bridge. You hear it. A sound that cuts through 2,000 men trying to be tough. Your song did that. This is what music is supposed to do. Pull something out that people didn't know was there. Between songs you talk. You tell them you understand. You don't. Not really. You've never been locked up for years. But you feel the trapped thing. You've been in prisons made of other materials, made of contracts and expectations. It's not the same, but it rhymes. June is watching from the wings. She's crying. Not sad crying, something else. She touches your face after. Gentle. Like you're the one who needs saving. Maybe you are. Maybe you've been the one in prison this whole time. The warden thanks you. His eyes say, you changed something today. These men will remember this. They'll have proof that they're not forgotten, that they still exist in a way that matters. You walk back down that long hallway. Your boots echo different now. Lighter somehow. Like you left something heavy behind. The gates open. You step out into California sunshine. It's too bright, too free. You look back. Inside are 2,000 men who just became people again for a few hours, because you showed up. The album will sell 1 million copies, but right now you're just standing outside a prison feeling more alive than you've felt in years, more human. This one matters. June asks if you're sober. You look her in the eyes and lie. The lie comes out smooth, practiced. She doesn't believe you. But she accepts the lie because calling you out requires energy she doesn't have. You tell her you're praying again. Half true, you did pray yesterday, or last week. You opened a Bible and said words to a ceiling that didn't respond. She wants to believe this, so you give her that need wrapped in words that sound holy. The pills are gone, you tell her. They're in your sock right now. As you're promising they're gone, they're pressed against your ankle. She asks to check. You laugh like she made a joke. Change the subject. Ask about dinner. She lets you change it. This is love or defeat or both. She wants a house. You buy a plane. Not because you need one, but a plane is a thing. A big thing that says success without saying you're never home. She wants a life. You give her concerts, hotels, cities that blur together. This is your life. Therefore it's hers. You've decided this without asking. She kisses you before shows. You taste guilt. Metallic. Chemical. You kiss her back like it's armour. The band knows the truth. They don't say anything. They're paid not to say anything. June knows too. She's known longer than anyone, but she stays. This is the confusing part. You're giving her every reason to leave and she's building reasons to stay. You promise to call more. You don't. You promise to be better. You don't. Your promises are checks you write with no intention of cashing. You say I love you like it's a cover song. Words that stopped meaning anything around the same time they started meaning everything. June would take the gun if she knew you keep one. But she doesn't know. The gun stays in the drawer. Your secret. Your escape hatch. Having last resorts makes first resorts more tolerable. You walk into green rooms like you own the building. Black suit, black boots, sunglasses indoors because your pupils are doing things that would require explanation. People part without you asking. This isn't respect, this is preservation. They can feel the heat coming off you, the kind that burns. You light a cigarette. There's a no smoking sign, you see it. Everyone sees you see it. You light it anyway. This is a test. No one tells you to put it out. This is how you know where you stand. Above the rules. You snort something off a Bible. Not because you need to. You took pills an hour ago. But because someone needs to understand that nothing is sacred except the stage. Maybe not even that. A photographer catches it. This will be a problem later. But right now you're just making a point. Watch what I can get away with. You cancel shows. 3 last month. 5 the month before. The cancelled shows sell out immediately when you reschedule. This is the secret. Scarcity creates value. Being unreliable makes people want you more. Then you sell out bigger venues. Not despite the chaos. Because of it. People want to see the train wreck. Your shadow walks into rooms before you do. Your reputation precedes you like smoke before fire. Venue managers see your name and start drinking. But they book you anyway. Because you fill rooms. Because capitalism doesn't care about chaos as long as chaos sells tickets. The shadow is heavier than you are. The weight of who everyone thinks you are. The man in black. The outlaw. The myth. It's crushing. But you can't take it off. It's sewn on now. Part of your skin. If you tried to be John instead of Johnny, nobody would recognize you. So you wear the shadow. Follow it into rooms and decisions that make sense for the character but not the man. You wake up choking on nothing. The paramedics arrive. They're young. Everyone's young. They give you oxygen. The mask tastes like previous emergencies. They find pills everywhere. On the floor. Under the bed. One of them says, Jesus Christ. It's not a prayer. It's an assessment. They want to take you to the hospital. You refuse. You sign a waiver that says if you die, it's not their fault. Your signature looks like your EKG probably does. Erratic, concerning, barely qualifying as the thing it's supposed to be. You try to quit. Last 2 days. 48 hours of your body screaming. On day 3 you find pills. Or pills find you. A friend dies. Someone you got high with. Someone who made the same choices but got different results. The result being dead. You should feel something. You practice feelings in the mirror. Sad face. Concerned face. None of them fit. You write a song about him. People say it's your best work. They don't know you wrote it in 15 minutes while high in a venue bathroom. You hallucinate June. Sitting in a chair that's empty, crying. You try to talk to her. She doesn't respond. Because she's not real. Your brain is remixing memories into present tense. You reach for her. Your hand goes through her. Everyone tells you to slow down, like you're operating at a pace you chose. You're not driving anymore. You're just holding the steering wheel while momentum does the work. You start treating death like someone you see at parties, someone familiar who keeps showing up uninvited. Death is flirty, persistent, patient. Death knows you're coming around eventually. Death can wait. You keep testing how close you can get. Keep doing things that should end you but don't. You're not suicidal, you're just indifferent. There's a difference. Suicide is active, indifference is passive. The mirror shows you someone else. The man in black started as a choice. Black suit because it didn't show stains, because it looked sharp under stage lights. Then it became a uniform, then a prison. Now it's just skin. You don't own clothes that aren't black. People stopped calling you John in 1965, until John was the name on legal documents and Johnny was who you were everywhere else. The problem is Johnny isn't real. Johnny's a character, but you've been playing him so long the method acting stuck. You wear black for the poor, you tell Rolling Stone, for the beaten down, for the prisoners. This sounds beautiful, revolutionary. It's also true, but it's not the whole truth. You also wear black because it's easy, because deciding what to wear requires energy you're conserving for staying alive. The symbolism came after, meaning retrofitted onto convenience. You tell journalists you died once. This is a lie, or a metaphor. You never clinically died. But you've stopped existing so many times it feels like death. Those are deaths, small ones, practice runs. You sell this story because near-death experiences are marketable. The label believes everything you tell them. They're not paying you to be honest. They're paying you to be interesting. You're a brand. Brands need narratives. You steal stories from convicts. The men you met at Folsom, San Quentin. They tell you their crimes, their regrets. You listen. Then you write songs using their stories. You don't tell them. You don't ask permission. You just take what you need and turn it into hits. This is theft or collaboration or exploitation. You tell yourself you're giving them voice. Really, you're giving yourself material. The myth grows faster than you can control it. People add details you never said. The myth takes on life, becomes self-sustaining. You hear people tell stories about you that never happened. You don't correct them. Who they think you are is more valuable than who you actually are. You start believing it yourself. This is the dangerous part. The line between character and person disappears completely. Eventually you forget where the character ends. You're in character 24/7. There's no off switch, no backstage where you get to be John. Johnny Cash is a prison made of spotlight and expectation. And John, if he ever existed, is dead. Rolling Stone puts you on the cover. You don't read it. The person they're describing isn't someone you know. They talk about gravitas and authenticity. They don't mention you threw up before the photo shoot. You walk out of the rehab 3 days in. The counsellors use words like commitment and breakthrough. You're not broken in ways that rehab fixes. You're broken in ways that require time travel. The press tour happens anyway. Everyone wants the redemption story. You give them pieces, enough to satisfy without committing to truth. You're getting better, you tell them. Taking it one day at a time. All the phrases that sound good in print. Everyone wants the story, not the truth. The story has shape. The truth is messy. You sing softer now, not by choice. Your voice is shot. Critics say you've matured. You haven't. You've just gotten tired. There's a difference. What's left looks like maturity if you don't look close. Up close, it's just exhaustion that's learned to sit still. You get invited to the White House. This seems like a mistake. You win awards, Grammys, Hall of Fame inductions. You leave them in hotel drawers. What do you do with a trophy? Fans cry when they meet you, like you're holy. You don't know what to say. You play Carnegie Hall, feel nothing. You miss the prison gigs. Those felt real. Prison audiences needed the music. Carnegie Hall audiences want the music. Want is different than need. You can feel the difference. You lace up the same boots every night. Black leather. Worn. Comfortable in the way things that hurt you consistently become comfortable. The boots are worn from years of running, from venue to venue, from yourself, from consequences. The soles are thin. The leather is cracked. They should have been replaced a year ago, but replacing them would be admitting that time passes, that things wear out, that you're wearing out too. You sing the old songs and wonder who wrote them. The voice doesn't sound like yours. You know you wrote Folsom Prison Blues. Your name is on it. But the person who wrote that is gone. Dead. The songs have become sounds, patterns, muscle memory your mouth performs while your brain is elsewhere. You think of your brother, Jack, dead at 15. Your fault or not your fault, depending on which memory you trust. You're the spare, the one who lived by accident. You think about the fire, the 508 acres, the 49 birds. This follows you. Not guilt exactly, just awareness. Like you're carrying their weight. You started something you couldn't stop. This is your whole life. You're a fire that's spread beyond its original boundaries. You think about June. The woman who keeps choosing you even when you give her every reason not to. You don't understand it. Keep waiting for the moment she realizes she can do better. She makes you want to be better. But wanting doesn't change anything. You smile on stage, don't feel it. The smile is mechanical now. A mask. There's nothing behind it except the knowledge that smiling is what people do when they're not actively dying. The pills are gone now. Actually gone. You're not sure this is a win. Without pills you feel everything. Every ache, every fear. Reality is overwhelming, sharp, too bright, too loud. People congratulated you on getting clean. You've achieved being present for your own decline. You're not sure this is better, just different, just harder. You get standing ovations and dream of silence. They stand, they clap, they scream your name. It's deafening. You dream of quiet, of spaces where nothing is expected. Nothing sounds peaceful. Nothing sounds like relief. The myth lives on, self-sustaining. The man in black, the outlaw, the legend. It exists separate from you. It'll outlive you. Already has in some ways. They don't see you. The exhausted, broken, barely functioning man. They see the myth, and the myth is immortal. The man doesn't matter anymore. The man is just the puppet, the vessel, the thing that carries the myth from stage to stage. The man wants to stop, wants to rest, wants to be John again instead of Johnny. But John is gone. Maybe never existed in the first place. You light one last cigarette. The flame appears. You watch it before bringing it to the cigarette. Fire is still beautiful, still dangerous, still honest in ways humans aren't. You hum to yourself. No song in particular, just sound. Something that isn't silence. The humming is yours, not a performance, just noise to fill space. You lasted longer than anyone expected. 37 years of this. Everyone had bets on when you'd die. You've outlived those bets. Survived through stubbornness and spite and the specific refusal to give anyone the satisfaction of being right about you. But 5 minutes in your shoes, most wouldn't make it past the first breath. The first moment of being awake in a body that hurts everywhere, in a life that makes no sense, in a role that requires you to be superhuman while feeling subhuman. They tap out, give up, because this is hard, this is heavy, this is carrying weight that's invisible but crushing. They think it's glamorous. They see the stages, the applause. They don't see the 3 a.m. hotel rooms. The blood in the sink, the constant calculation of how to keep going when going is the last thing you want to do. 5 minutes in these boots and they'd understand. They'd feel the weight, the pressure, the impossibility of being human while being treated like myth. They'd understand that this isn't living, this is surviving, barely. And survival isn't victory, it's just postponed defeat. But you keep going, not because you're strong, because stopping requires making a decision and you're out of decisions. You're on autopilot. The machine keeps moving and you're a part in the machine. You'll keep going until you can't. Until your body files its final complaint. Until the boots wear through completely. You're still here, still standing, still breathing. The boots are laced. The stage is waiting. Tomorrow is already here. And you'll walk out there again, like you always do. Because this is what you do. This is who you are. This is the only thing you know how to be anymore. You lasted longer than anyone expected. But 5 minutes in your shoes? Most wouldn't survive the first step.